let's talk about turbo boosting our JSM instance using third-party applications. So I do want to start by saying out of the box, JSM is already a very feature-rich service management tool. JSM, I would say about 80 to 90% of the business asks that your service team, that most common service teams ask for, are available from JSM out of the box, no additional costs. But if you have a need that might not be handled by a out of the box JSM feature, there are thousands of apps available in JSM for the Atlassian Marketplace. Many apps have a free trial period, and if you're using JSM Cloud, you can just go to the marketplace, click on Start Free Trial, and you don't have to deal with an installation process. You don't have to deal with, any downtime. You can usually try most tools out with a click of a button. And if you have any questions about implementation or the full feature set or best practices for an app developer teams are usually available to discuss your needs. I know from personal experience, if I ever had a question, either from a customer or just by myself, I can get a response from these teams in less than a workday usually. I can get a Zoom call set up for the next day or the day after with most of these app developer teams. So it's a very active marketplace. There's plenty of developers that are actively creating and supporting apps today, and it's an easy way to add functionality to your JSM projects with a click of a button. So I'll highlight some of the third-party apps I've used and I recommend to my clients. So an important one that I've used a lot before is Temple Timesheets. This is a great tool for time tracking, any sort of billing or invoicing, capex, opex. If you're in the HR space, it's very important to track capex, opex for tax reasons. Um, you know, one-click solution integrates with your tickets very easily. You can assign, you know, each service request work to an internal time tracking code. You can fill all your timesheets in the tool instead of having to use a third-party tool to then go in and submit your timesheets. Not too difficult to implement. Very feature rich. Another app that I want to discuss is Script Runner for Jira. Although we have a lot of out of the box JSM automation, which is already very powerful and can probably fulfill most of your team's needs. If your team requires, let's say, some, very logic intensive workflow automation, anything with field calculations, if you need to do math or, any type of logic based modification to your fields, or if your team is used to scripting, they don't want to use the Lego block automations. Um, there's a lot of Groovy scripting capabilities built into Script Runner. So it's a very general tool, but you can really use it to modify JSM to look and feel however you would want it to. If you really want to unlock it and just be able to go in there and script, if you're more used to kind of like the scripting functionalities of, let's say, a ServiceNow, and you want your JSM instance to feel more like ServiceNow and their Java scripting workflows and issues, I do recommend Script Runner for Jira. Another one I want to talk about is Revise Data Manager. So out of the box, there's not too many good backup and restore tools for Jira Cloud. You can't access any of the data that's hidden from the cloud. So if there is a lot of mistakes made or you need to generate backups, there's not really a way to do that out of the box. Another big issue right now with JSM that they don't have a feature built for is copying configurations from sandbox to production. So without this add-on, there's no one-click solution for gathering all the changes that you've made in your sandbox and pushing it to production. Without this tool, you would have to manually keep track of and then implement all the changes after an approval or testing period. So a revised data manager is a very useful tool for your configuration management of your instance. Brian, are there any apps you recommend to the good people on this call?
Yeah, I've got a few. The first one I want to talk about is called Refined Sites for JSM by a company named Refined. Yeah, that's it right there. And what this does is this gives your service desk portal more of a theme. You can do a lot more branding, a lot more customization on the front end side. So when your customers, whether those be external or internal customers, are coming into your portal to open a request, you can make it feel like your other sites do. So you can continue with your company's branding and have it feel a little more unique and a little bit more personalized. So that's one that I think is really cool. You can do some customizations on your portal out of JSM out of the box, but this extends it beyond that. So you can, like I said, continue with your branding, continue with making it feel a little bit more like an a company website. The next one I want to talk about kind of hits on the script runner part, but it's called Jira Miscellaneous Custom Fields by a company called AppFire. And yeah, perfect. And what this does is this actually allows some more custom fields to be created, and they're a little bit different of the field types that you can do within Jira. So this kind of expands those field types. Like mentioned earlier, you can do some calculating field types. You can gather information like when a ticket was transitioned by a user, time and status, how many times a ticket's actually been transitioned just throughout its lifespan. Information like that is what you can gather. So a little bit more data being put into your tickets and just your overall JSM experience. And then the last one I want to talk about is Easy BI reports and charts for Jira. And this one is by a company called Easy BI. And what this does is this kind of extends the dashboards and reports that we talked about earlier. This makes them a little bit more visual appealing, and also it kind of you can manipulate the data a little bit more with the Jira miscellaneous custom fields, like I talked about a second ago. You can put more data in, so the data that you want to get out is only as good as the data that you're putting in. So you're putting in good data. Let's get the data out in a more visual, appealing way for some of those, maybe higher level, C-level type users who want to look at this information. So that's what EasyBI does is it extends your reports, it extends your dashboards, and gives you a little bit of more options there for charting, as well as Gantt charts, things like that. So those are the three plugins I recommend, the apps that recommend to use for JSM. If you feel that out of the box, you do need to add a few things to it. But like you said, Clever, it is very rich and powerful just out of the box.
I agree. I mean, this app I would say is important if you need live data visualization. 'Cause JSM, there's usually a lag or you need to hit a refresh button to get the latest information. But I know with these visualization apps, they're better about getting real time information. So if you have a management has like a monitor up in their office where they need to see a real time information, I do recommend an app like that.